Alright guys, it's day 3 of our 2020 Ram 1500 trailerless setup build. We got the rails. That was part 1 of the video. I'll have everything linked in like the description or up here on the right. How we did the rails and then also how we mounted all of these. Now we're not done. I think we might have to remove this spool here and put a smaller spool right in the middle of the trimmers, because I am more than likely going to be shortening the rails on both sides. So we're going to cut them and then take the caps off and then cap them. Probably make the cuts right here, so that way, or right here, maybe with the flush with the light, or just right here so they're kind of in a little bit. So that way if we ever remove the ramp rack, we can put the tailgate back on and we won't have these poles sticking out. So got the ramp rack sport. I'm gonna go ahead and first remove my tailgate. So I watched a video online. It should be pretty easy. Could more than likely do it with one person. It'd be nice if we had two, but let's go ahead and remove the tailgate and get on unpacking the ramp rack sport. All right, so with the 5th gen Rams, you should have got like something in a bag like this. It might be underneath your passenger seat. If it's not there, just check all of your compartments. Check your glove box, and you should have like this little plate here. I always wondered what it was, and then I saw the video. I'm like, oh, that's what it was. So it's to kind of plug your, or to cap your connectors, so that way, you know, water doesn't get into them, and then you can reuse them later, you know, when you need to. So just make sure those are plugged in all the way, and then the cap goes back on like that. You also have 2 more. These will prevent corrosion from your original plug. Now, again, this is just, you want to store your tailgate inside, obviously. This is just an extra little protective thing. So you can tape this up here so it doesn't get pinched. That's what I'm going to do when I go ahead and store my tailgate. Cover it up so it doesn't get scratched or anything like that. Alright, I'm going to real quick unbox everything. Take off all the zip ties and get it off the pallet and lay everything out and see exactly what the instructions say as far as install. Alright, got everything unwrapped. And here's what was all included in the ramp rack sport. Now they got this this hitch extender. This extends your hitch to a 2-inch. So it goes from, like, let's say you had a 2.5, it'll bring it down to a 2-inch. My 1500 is a 2-inch, so we won't need to be using that. Anyone with the 3-inch, you're gonna have to get your own reducer. So first thing we gotta do is insert this thing into here. It's gonna go in like this. You're gonna see it pop open on this side. There we go. So see how it's open? Now we're gonna install it using this hitch pin here. Alright, when you do install it, you want to make sure that the hole is visible all the way through. So if you have it too far forward, this thread, it won't hold properly. So you got to have the holes directly lined up. And you know you have it installed correctly when you try to pull on this thread or this threaded rod, and it won't come out. All right, next step, I attach the dovetail support, and you use the little carriage bolts that come with it, and then you use the flange nuts to tighten them up, but you don't want to tighten them super hard. You want them a little bit loose, because there are going to be a lot of adjustments that you're going to make. So you don't want these tight. And see, I got the wrong one, so it's got to be specific. It's not the smaller ones, it's the bigger ones. All right, next is the little ramp that goes on top of the dovetail. And we're more than likely going to be using 2 of the holes here and 2 of the holes here, I believe. So get ready, put them in your pocket. You need 4 of the same size carriage bolts that you use, not the smaller ones, but the bigger ones. You need 4 of them. And 4 flange nuts as well. One thing they didn't tell you in the instructions is to put a nut and washer on the rod so it doesn't slide back and forth when you go to make your adjustments. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this tightened up. And make sure you do have your hitch pin in when you are tightening this up. I think this is how it goes. Yeah, there we go. So I guess I need to align it to where it fits the height of my truck, which I believe will be, it'll be the second to last. All right, here's where we're at so far. So yeah, I went ahead and added the nut and washer, and again, these 4 nuts are still loose, so you can make adjustments. You can slide this forward and back. Now I'm more than likely going to leave, I'd say like a ½ inch gap, maybe an inch gap all the way around, and then install my bumper supports. That'll be here in a little bit, but I like the way where it's sitting right now and the height. So I think the height's pretty perfect, pretty level with the bed. Some people like to install it a little bit lower, but since I have the rugged liner sits a little higher. So as you can see there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at hole number 2, the one that's not the highest, but the second to highest. Tighten these bolts up, and then go ahead and tighten these up when I do a clear measurement. Inch here, tighten everything up. All right, so I took another look at these bumper stops, and these 2020 Rams, look at the bumper. So it's much lower than the bracket. So I don't think I will be needing these. So unless I get like longer ones somehow, but yeah, it's supposed to be like right here, I believe. But anyways, we won't be installing any bumper stops. All right guys, up next we have to install the springs and weld attachments to the first part of the ramp, or the middle part of the ramp I should say. So what we have to do first is lay it belly side down, or the top side down. And then I'll show you how to install these springs. So here's the 3 pieces you're going to need. You're going to need this elbow and the spring. You take the spring, make sure it is, if you're doing the left side, make sure it's L. And on this plate, it's marked L as well for left side. What you're going to do is you're going to take the spring, feed it through. Okay. Now you're going to take the left side, flat side, not the one with the notch, but the flat side. You're going to feed it through like this and around the L bend. So you're going to have something like this. Okay. Now we're going to take it and make sure that you have the smaller carriage bolts in hand, 2 of them, with your flange nuts. This is exactly how you install. Let me show you. So we're going to use the top hole. We're going to put the top side in, and then again this L bracket, is going to fit in with the notch. Did you see the notch there? Let me zoom in. Let me take it off. See how there's a notch here and an opening here? You're going to line up the notches. Once you have it lined up, hold it in place, put a carriage bolt through, put a nut on the end so it holds. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing on the right side. I'll show you here in a second. Alright, same thing on the right side. Again, your 3 pieces, your weldment, your spring, and the L little bracket, whatever thing. Take your 2 carriage bolts, 5/16, and your flange nuts, and do the same thing on the right side, alright? So bring you guys down so you see what I'm doing. I'll even take it apart to show you. So, got this piece, spring, slide it all the way. Now you got, make sure it is R with R, alright, for right side, and make sure you are doing the right side. Again, flat side in, flat side, smooth side, not with the bump. It's going in, and you're feeding it around, like that. Now we're going to use the top bolt and line up the notch to the notch. Have a carriage bolt ready. Get our carriage bolt in, put a nut on the back side, and put your other one in there. Now I'm using a 1/2 inch open end wrench. You can use a 1/2 inch socket if you like. You might not be able to get it in there, but we're gonna go ahead and tighten up this right side and do the left side as well. And one more thing, after you got both the nuts tightened, go ahead and place this in the open position. All right, see how I did that? There's a notch here that holds the rod. There you go. All right, next thing we're doing is throwing this thing up here. All right, so we gotta get these two rods. One rod is going through the bottom hole there. Now, you don't wanna put it through this one because you want them like out like that. Same thing with this side. All right, feed it through the hole, the bottom one. Make sure it goes out on the other end and set it up like this. Now, when you lift this part of the ramp, these might close on you, okay, depending on how you lift it. But you want to lift that front up because that's how it's going to go. So it's going to go up and you're going to set it down on these notches. These notches are made for the rod here, okay? One more thing I want to be clear about is this is the only piece that's going to be on the outside, okay, on the outside of this plate, all right? Everything else, this whole assembly has to be on the inside. All right, let me do this real quick. Now what we can do is we can take this rod and feed it through the holes here. All right. So this might be a little tight. You're gonna have to bang it in. And remember, there's a carriage bolt here. We have to line it up with the hole opening. All right, if you're following along, I know you struggled with those pins. Man, it took me a while, but I got them tightened up. They're just smaller carriage bolts with the nut on the back side. I used an open end wrench. But man, I had to do a lot of wiggling on this ramp. I put mine down and I got to the right side to pop into place. And then I installed this one by having the ramp about halfway. So of course, when they do the hole alignment or laser cutting, whatever they do to make the metal, they're not really precise. So you have to be careful. And you have to do it specifically for the rod to line up with the holes. Once it does, it'll pop into place, throw in the carriage bolts, put your nuts on, tighten them up. And now we're ready to install the gas struts. All right, so it don't matter left and right, they're both the same. But this top portion is gonna go up and this one's gonna be down. But we have to install these things first. They should just pop into place. Of course not. All right, all you automotive guys are laughing at me right now, me trying to install it without removing this pin. Hey, you know, we all learn. So you remove that pin, you install the ball, make sure it clicks in, take the pin, feed it back through, loop it around, clicks right in, boom. So now we're ready to install the strut. Make sure to grab two 5/16 nuts. So what I saw in their install directional video is he went here and then he also went here. Well, we have to turn it manually a little bit. And they said we need to install just one side. So one side is going to be installed. All right, this next portion is a little tricky. Make sure you have these in stock in your hand. And we're going to take this. We have to open up the levers, but we're going to take it and drop it down a little bit. So we're going to gonna go ahead and unlock. Go ahead and unlock. Since we got one of the gas struts installed, it should be able to stay kind of in this position. If not, you're just gonna have to lift it. But what we're gonna do, let's try to leave it here. Yeah. Take your ramp, bring it over. And this is why I said make sure to have these in hand, because we're gonna connect both these ramps. This portion is going to be on the outside. Same with the left and the other two connections. So we're going to take our rod, feed it all the way through. Remember, this portion is on the outside. Line it up. And if you had a carriage bolt, 5/16 goes right here. You can install it and put your nut on the back side as well. All right, let me show you up close after I've got everything installed. Okay, so this hanging portion, the one that you have the handles on, it's gonna go on the left side, then on the left of your other ramp portion, okay? So on the outside, and then you're gonna install this pin. You'll see this bottom one is on the left side. On here, this bottom one is on the right, and the bottom one is on the right, okay? So hope that makes sense. Hope there's no confusion there. I'm going to lift it up and throw the second gas strut on. All right, before you install it, go grab 2 5/16 nuts. Don't forget those. And I don't know what this is. I guess I got some wear on my strut. I demand a refund. Joke. All right, well, they're kind of opposite, so I have to twist them. I'm going to go ahead and install one. Oh man, I'm gonna have to unfold this. My hands are squished. Tighten this up as much as I can. Second one is gonna go right here. Alright, at least they're easy to turn. Alright, up next, go to your bolt pile and get the 1.5 inch carriage bolts, 5/16 with 2 nuts. Alright, let's go. Now these are the things that are going to reset the pins. We're going to go ahead and feed them through here. Tighten up the flange. Of course this flange nut does not want to thread fast. Might be the bolt. Yep, it's the bolt. Alright, get your wrench out and wrench on. Same thing on this side. So there's no like extra connector here or anything. There's no metal. It just goes through this one piece of metal. All right, you probably might not see it because I already put the ramp down, but it reset. Something hit here. I forgot what hit. I didn't catch, but something hit to where it reset the handle. Now the handle's, oh, it hits this piece here. So the handle's loose. Now I think it's unlocked in the unlocked position. So now when we bring it up, it should be easier. It should just click in, I think. Yep, both of them clicked. Bingo. Okay, so the next step is optional. You can install these side pieces here. Nice, made out of metal. They're gonna go in and block out right here, so that way stuff, if you're carrying, hedge trimmers or whatever, stuff doesn't rattle out and drop onto the road while you're driving, and it kind of makes it look more sleek. Your little curved dovetail supports are going to go right here, and I'll show you how to, because I'm going to be installing them. But the guy at Ramp Rack said that if you are going to put a mower on that's more than 51.5 inches, so a 51.5 inch deck, which for those of you 52 inch deck users are crying over right now, it won't fit. So 48 and under, basically, or 51.5 inch deck and under, will fit with the side support. So you can use it now and get a bigger mower on here, but you can install those side pieces. All right, so I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to be running anything over 48, so I am going to install them right now. And also one more thing to mention, it's nice to have a battery operated ratchet, something that can tighten a nut really fast, because you are going to be holding it and doing everything at once. So it's nice to get a fast action ratchet that will tighten up the nuts real quick, so you don't have to sit there and ratchet and hold everything while you're doing it. All right, now if you did install bumper supports, see they got the hole cutouts there, so you won't have to worry about it not fitting. So it's going to fit directly like this. What I recommend is grab your bolt, feed one through. I guess you could feed all of them through, but we'll do one for now. Well, it'll hold like that, I guess. That's good. Grab a nut, put it on the back side. Alright, see how it's a little bit open still? Yours might not be, but that's why they included these plates. So let's see if this will go, let's see, inside or outside? Not too sure. I think it's best if we leave it on the inside. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's do outside. Of course. And it's the carriage bolts that you're going to use are the very small ones. Alright. The very small nut on the other side. Alright, there's what it looks like all installed. Got the side pieces on both sides. And the extensions. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know if this is possible. Someone let me know. I don't know if this is possible, but could we possibly somehow have a way to tow while we have the ramp rack installed? I don't know if that's possible or not, but if it is, if someone maybe from Team Ramp Rack is watching this, let me know if it is possible. Maybe with like some extension or something. I've seen Harbor Freight has something like that, to where it's like they have a hitch coming out and a hitch welded up top. So is that possible? I don't know, but if any of you that do run ramp racks, let me know in the comments down below. So hope this was informative to somebody. Got the ramp rack hat on. Hope this was informative to somebody on how to install a ramp rack sport on the 2020 Ram 1500. Pretty easy, much easier than even the rails or the racks, surprisingly. So I took less time. It took me probably, I could have probably finished it in like 14-15 minutes, but since I was filming, it took me a little bit longer, and it was my first time installing it. I had to watch some videos and some tutorials, because the instructions, man, I'm telling you again, these instructions are not, I wouldn't go off the instructions. Just watch the video that I'm going to pin. It's the owner that actually shows you how to install it. So if I said something that wasn't clear, watch his video and he shows you how to install it. But his video is zoomed out a lot. So I think he recorded on a GoPro or something, but it was zoomed out. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that. No, not shooting any hate or anything at him, but you know, if you got any questions for me on how to install it, I'll do my best to answer them in the comments down below. So shoot them at me, and I'm still not done. So I have a part 4 that's going to come out, and that is going to, I'm basically, again, going to cut these off and shorten them, because see, when we installed it, I thought it was going to be flush. It's not. They still stick out. So I'm just going to take them back. I really don't need the extra foot and a half. So I'm going to cut them right here, cap them, and take this spool, put my older one, it's more flush, right underneath here, and throw all the equipment on. And I'm going to show you my lawn care equipment setup for 2023. And it's trailerless. I'm super excited to show you guys everything and how I am going to operate for 2023. Thank you guys so much. It's been Phil with Phil's Lawn Care and Phil's Lawn Care Plus. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. I want your feedback as well, all right? So hit that like button as well. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one.